In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my biggest and perhaps even most exciting Webflow website build to date. This particular website build is for a very innovative architecture studio called the Natty Group. They are based in North America with offices in both Canada and the United States, and their services primarily span architecture, urban design, and landscape architecture, and they have a portfolio that literally spans the globe. So this was a really great project to work on because the architecture studio, and especially the principal, who was the main point of contact in this case, is, as you'll see based on the website we built, very innovative, very forward-thinking, and very much focused on sustainable design solutions. The projects they work on specifically encompass the categories of innovative residential communities, mixed-use developments, RV parks, and outdoor amenities, as well as special commission type projects that cities and other local municipalities will hire this firm for projects like parks or other community amenities that are meant for the public good. So yes, this project was a blast to collaborate with. Like I said, I had the pleasure to work with the CEO/principal of the firm, who embodies all the characteristics of the firm in terms of the forward-thinking, innovative nature. And the client actually, in this case, came to me via one of these YouTube videos. So I really think it goes to show you the power of online marketing, specifically video, and the ability to connect with people simultaneously in a one-to-one nature, as well as reaching people across the globe. That's why I'm always advocating for my clients to take the time to record and produce video content just like this. So that covers the project background here. Now I'm going to jump into the screen recording and walk you through the strategy, design, and development phases of the project. And so that way you can get a much better sense of everything this architecture studio encompasses and the final website that was developed for them. All right, everyone. So before we dive into the strategy presentation, which basically is the foundation of the entire web design and marketing game plan we came out with, first, I just wanted to quickly show you the previous website, so the current website that the client had in this case when they first reached out to me. So as you can see, it's very simple here. It's just a slider design highlighting the different expertise areas that they operate in. So you can see mixed use development, RV resorts and campgrounds. And this was basically the homepage here, as you can see here. And you can see here, there's a sneak preview of the very futuristic type work that this client is involved in. But then once you scroll down, that's literally all you have here. If we look at some of the other areas now, like their practice areas, you can see that everything is very simple. They do have some specific service pages built out. These were for SEO primarily, but as you can see, this is basically just a blog post type of a layout, not really a standard web page, which you're used to seeing. They did have an about page, and fortunately, this was all built in Webflow. That was actually one of the reasons why the client reached out to me in the first place and ultimately wanted to work with me, is the fact that this client is familiar with the Webflow platform. He built the website himself, as you can see here in Webflow. And I can definitely tell you from collaborating with him that he can definitely be dangerous in Webflow, and I mean that in a good way. So he definitely has some skills when it comes to web design and development, and that did make it easier to collaborate with him and make it just easier so that we're speaking the same language versus sometimes you have a client and they've never been involved with a website project to begin with, let alone knowing the basics of Webflow development and all that type of stuff. So this client was probably the most technical client I've ever collaborated with in that respect. So let's get on to the strategy presentation here. So this was the deck I had put together, and you can see here, one of my key tips here is always going to be to mirror your client's branding and color scheme. So in this case, that's where the fonts and colors come from. From my view, clients don't care about your branding, they care about their branding. And also, this is just a subtle way to position yourself as being on the same side, the same team, versus being like an outside contractor, freelancer, consultant, whatever you want to call it, where it can be harder to get your points across because there's just that natural point of friction. So going into the presentation, as you can see here, this is the cover slide. The agenda, I generally will run these the same way, but again, the content of the specific items we'll talk about always differs based on the particular client I'm working with. But generally, I do like to start with a current website audit, just so they have an understanding of where their website currently stands, its strengths, its weaknesses, its areas for improvement. This way, we just have a shared understanding of the current problems the website has and what we are going to be proposing in the next phase, the design phase, in order to improve the website, not just from a visual perspective, but most importantly, from a marketing and lead gen perspective. So that is why I start with the audit of the website. There are a couple of key areas this covers. Number one, just the overall branding based on what I can infer from their different brand assets, as you can see here. So the overall design, the color scheme, the typography, the positioning of the brand as conveyed through the website's copy and design. And the way I like to do this here is just to give the client my neutral observation. So I'll basically place myself in the shoes of their prospective clients as if I was coming to the website for the first time and just giving them my neutral observation if I were them. Then I break down what my recommendations would be to improve these different areas. And then finally, I will tell the client what I believe the impact of that would be. Scrolling on down here, we then go to the copy effectiveness. Now, this is something that to me, many web designers, many agencies even will just completely overlook. But to me, quite honestly, that is just a huge oversight because copy is going to be the number one factor that determines whether or not your website is going to be able to consistently generate leads, in this case, project opportunities for this architecture client. And that's because ultimately, in my view, and if you disagree, feel free to comment and let me know and we can certainly talk it out. But in my view, it is the design that's going to draw people in, get them interested in the brand, get them engaged, but ultimately it's the copy that is going to take them from a visitor into a actual bona fide sales prospect. And in this case, it's what's going to ultimately get them to take action and fill out the form on the website and convert from a visitor to a lead. So that is why the copy is so important here. And that is why I actually dedicate time to reading through the entire website, taking notes, and then again, giving them my neutral observation in these different areas, giving them my recommendation, and then again, what I believe the impact of that would be. And then finally, I kind of just evaluate the website from just a high level UX perspective, if you will. So just talking about the audience, is it clear who we're actually talking to through the website? Are we introducing problems in the copy, and are we talking about the pain points that our prospective clients are likely experiencing? And then ultimately, are we positioning ourselves based on that to provide solutions to those problems? And just what is the overall marketing message of the website? Is it coherent? Is it compelling? Are we providing a unified theory of the case as to why they should hire this firm in particular? Or are we very scatterbrained and all over the place with that? So then once we break that out, then I go into some other areas of the website. So I talk about the mobile responsiveness and just give them an idea of, when it comes to their visitors, what percentage are viewing them on both desktop, mobile, tablet devices. And then again, I don't do this for every single client, but in this case, I pointed out some mobile responsibility issues here, as you can see. Then I talk about the importance of website speed. I then run a test on their website so they can see the current speed of their website. And then I also will do a full-on technical crawl using this SEO tool, SE Ranking. I've made videos on that in the past if you're interested, but basically this just gives them an idea of the technical health of their website. So this will just reveal a lot of things that are basically under the hood type issues that are not necessarily going to be visible to the human eye browsing the website. And then again, in this report, I just highlighted some issues here. So I believe my key takeaway was that there were some minor issues, none that were too major, but they all added up to be a bit problematic overall. And then you can see I just sum up everything here based on my viewpoints. Then we get into the marketing research and discovery work, as well as the competitive analysis. Here I do an SEO analysis on their current website, and SEO was one of the main drivers of traffic and then lead generation in total for this client. So that's why I dedicated a bit more time on this one, just to give them a thorough overview of their current SEO rankings. Now, post this website being built, I've actually been working with this client on a marketing campaign. And in the past 6 months, we've actually doubled these keywords along with the website redesign, which certainly helped the SEO technical nature of things, but also just the ongoing marketing work we've been doing. So I will probably make a case study video on the specific marketing work we've done together. But for this video, we're just talking about the website portion of the project. And as you can see here, I just highlighted key keywords that the client was ranking for that are directly relevant to their business in this case. Then I was giving them just some insights into Google Search Console. And then I dive into more of their website traffic analysis. Now, the client was getting reports from their SEO agency, but this seemed to be a lot more in-depth, if I recall, than what they were getting. So the client definitely appreciated this level of granularity. Then we did competitive research. A lot of this was from direct competitors the client had sent me, but then I also, as usual, will do my own research to try and find good competitors that I think are worth evaluating their marketing strategy. Then I give them a overall takeaway here. As you can see here, just summing up my thoughts. These are some of the competitors we looked at, basically always just giving them my high level overview, highlighting some screenshots. So a lot of these things I don't actually have bullet points for because they just serve as props for me to talk over during the presentation here. I never like to give those presentations where someone's just reading off the thing bullet by bullet. I feel like that's pretty lame, quite honestly. You'll see after all those competitive insights, the client definitely did find it very helpful and informative. You'll see here I built out a SEO optimized sitemap. This was very important for the client. And again, this was before a lot of the recent SEO trends, which I think have dramatically capped the ceiling of its potential going forward. I'm just not as bullish as I was on SEO. Whereas over a year ago, when we were first doing this work here in early 2023, I would have had a different opinion. Then I also put together some websites that serve as solid visual inspiration. So then on the screen share, we reviewed all these and I got my client's feedback on things that he liked, things that he didn't like, that type of stuff. Then we also talked about this interactive video ask form, which I thought would do a much better job of a standard contact form in terms of increasing leads by making a more personalized impression. Luckily, the client was on board with this idea and they went ahead and the firm made a video ask themselves featuring the top business development representative of the firm, the one who's going to be a bit more prospective client facing in terms of the sales calls. So that was fantastic. This is basically wrapping up the presentations and I covered next steps because we were about to get started with the design phase. And then that is the strategy portion of the project. Now let's go into the design phase here. This is Figma. These are the UX wireframes. So these were all the different pages we were going to have featured on the website. Like I said, this was my biggest project to date. So it is a fairly large website. We're going to have a home page, a studio, basically an about page, different services, different service page templates, I should say, for their main services of architecture, urban design, and landscape architecture. Then we have some other pages here for their expertise areas. So basically, these are the main areas where this firm focuses their projects on. That's going to be, at least as of the time when we were first working on this website, it has changed subsequently in the year or so roughly we've been working together. But at the time, it was mixed use development, manufactured housing communities, public space amenities, resilient township planning, RV parks and campgrounds, and special commissions. Then we also had a media page. So this is for press releases, blog articles, video articles, things of that nature. This was the individual post template. So basically a blog post template. And then the portfolio page, of course, the portfolio template that all the projects are displayed in. This directly integrates with the Webflow CMS, of course. The contact page. And then I also told the client that I believe that we should have a dedicated consultation page. This is something I'll often recommend because I don't think a standard generic contact page is enough. You need to have a personalized consultation page that's basically going to tell people everything they can expect and all the value they're going to receive from booking that initial consultation. And then you can see here, this is the layout. Now, I think if you've watched any of my past videos, you understand kind of like the purpose of these UX wireframes. But basically, to recap, it's just to give the client a high-level overview of the content that every page is going to feature. Then once they sign off on that, I will move forward with writing up the copy myself for all the different pages. This way, they're able to understand the layout and content structure of every single page. And this way they can provide their feedback in an organized manner before we go to do any design work. And then this way, it's just a very smooth process. So we're always moving forward. We're regularly checking in with the client to get their feedback, but ultimately we're never getting ourselves in a situation where we're taking 2 steps forward, but then 1 step back. So this is a natural, progressive way to work. And then you can see here that in Figma, the client was able to collaborate and stuff like that. So you can see that's where the comments come in. And then once the overall layout was approved, we then go into the actual finalized design of the website here. You can see here that our idea was to keep things very minimalist in terms of the color palette. So it's just black headlines and copy, and then basically all white space, other than the occasional all black background section, as you can see here. One of the things we really wanted to highlight on this project was going to be the use of high quality photography, as you can see here, from both the renderings that the client had prepared as well as actual project photography. And then do note in this section, this is just placeholder for a video. I let the client know that by putting this little video icon in the back here. You can't see it here, but you will see it as we go through the website in a second. You will see that there are lots of animations and effects sprinkled throughout the website, as well as lots of video backgrounds as well. So this really just brought the website to life. You can see here we're using sliders just to make it a bit more interactive and to not take up a whole lot of screen real estate for different content sections. Quick intermission here. If you are an architecture firm owner, marketing director, or perhaps someone more on the administrative side of things, and your firm is looking to boost its online presence in a similar way as to what you've seen so far, I invite you to schedule a free strategy session with myself. You can find a link in the description of this video where you'll be able to check out our interactive video form, which will allow you to quickly submit information about what you're looking for help with, as well as some background info on your firm. So that way, if you are qualified, you can directly schedule a consultation on my calendar. Now, don't worry, this meeting is not meant to be a sales pitch. We're certainly not going to be looking at any sort of pitch decks. Personally, I hate those things myself. Rather, it's a friendly, no obligation consultation where we will both get to know each other, and I will take the time to learn more about your firm. And based on the insights you provide me, I will outline a branding, website, and digital marketing roadmap so you can ultimately achieve your firm's sales goals. Link in the description if you want to check out a little bit more about what that design consultation entails. And without further ado, let's get back into the video. Working with the client here was very easy, I would say. Honestly, I really did enjoy this project because the client was basically on board for 95% of everything. He was like, looks great, keep doing what you're doing, move forward, we're making great time, all that type of stuff. He didn't have a whole lot of feedback. Some clients have more feedback, some clients have less. The feedback that he did provide, I thought was all great and made the project a lot better than it would have been if we had not had that feedback. So it was a joy to collaborate. Now you can see here that this is the mock-ups of all the different pages here. Now, again, I don't believe it's necessary to mock up all these different UX wireframes because that would just take a ton of time. I can tell you from personal experience working at an agency where we did do that it honestly just made projects drag out way longer than they should have. But as you'll see here in a second, once we did launch the website with this actual design, but then in my capacity working with them on an ongoing marketing campaign, a couple months ago, the client told me that he wanted to revamp things a bit for the start of 2025. So just making things a lot more minimalist. So that is what you will see reflected on the actual finalized website, which we'll take a look at now. All right, so now I'm on the actual homepage of the website. You can see it's very minimalist. We have this thin font, which is the same font you had seen in the wireframes. It's a Helvetica now, very slightly modernized version of Helvetica. But you can see we have the company tagline here, designed for a better world. They had invested before in branding as well. And then you can see a different montage of the different types of projects they have in design, as well as ones that have already been built and constructed. So very cool. You can see this drone shot, I think is fantastic here. And then you can see very futuristic type designs. And then when you scroll down, you just have this layout where basically this is the mission/vision statement of the firm. And then as you scroll in, the text goes from gray to darker, as you can see. And basically that is that. You may have also noticed in the start, I'll reload it, but we do also have this loading animation with the client logo. So this just adds a very nice sleek design touch in my view. Up here on the nav, it's very simple. We do have a project search feature. So in this case, this is often very helpful. The client has told me when they're on sales calls and they want to pull up a project that is relevant to the prospective client's project, they can just go to their website and search it right on screen share. Works fantastic. And then we also do have this hamburger menu, which is very sleek, as you can see here. And then basically as you hover or click on different areas of the navigation, you get this sub menu that appears, and then you can select those options accordingly. We will be taking a look at many of those items in a second here. But yeah, basically this used to be what you saw here in Figma. It used to be this homepage. We had this fully developed, but then the client let me know that he wanted to basically streamline things dramatically. And I think in this case, it actually works very well. So it's all good. And it does invite people to click on the nav and go to some different places. So let's start off with the studio place. You'll see this throughout the website. We have basically lots of background videos. Fortunately, the client did invest in professional videography, as you can see here, of course. So that obviously makes it a lot easier to put together the videos, backgrounds, as you can see here. So these are shots of the firm and the people in it. Obviously very fitting for the about page. You can see an about section here. We have the core values listed. Then we have the bios of individuals that work at the firm, and then we have this modal pop-up. This is all connected with the Webflow CMS. So basically it's very easy for the client to add people to the website, and then they can add in their profile photo, their name, their position, their bio, all very easy, and it gets automatically added to this section of the website, the portfolio grid, and then they don't even need to touch any code necessarily. So that's why it's so great to work with the Webflow CMS. Now going on, we have some quick fast facts about the firm. Just to reiterate the firm's authority, look at all the money they have under construction, nearly 2,000 projects in the portfolio. They've been in 35 states, 4 provinces. The firm is based in Canada, if I didn't already mention that, but they do have offices in America and then 5 different countries as well. And over the course of that, they have won several awards. And then we just have a quick history section, as you can see here, just highlighting different milestones in the firm's history. Now, in terms of the services they provide, we have a similar template for the key services of architecture, landscape architecture, and urban design. So as you can see here, very futuristic renderings. I think this really separates itself from any other firm in competition. And then, as you can see here, we have very detailed, fantastic service pages, just walking people through all the different key features of working with the firm and what they can expect from that. Then we have different solutions they can provide here, and then we have a sticky section as well, just to make it a joy to scroll through. Then we have a horizontal scroll section linking to different projects that are on the website. We have testimonials, and then we have a CTA for people to get in touch about a potential project. If they were to go to schedule a consultation, you will see that this is where the video ask form comes into play. I'm a big proponent of these. I've made ones for my own business, and I think it just makes it a much more engaging. Like, you feel like you just have to click on this video and watch the beginning of it, and then before the prospect knows it, they're already filling out the form and they're about to convert into a lead. So to me, this is just way more engaging, way more higher end, and just way more personalized than a traditional standard form that you're gonna fill out and you're like, is anyone even gonna see this? Am I ever gonna hear back from this company? Is this just a waste of time? This, I think, shows that this firm means business, and obviously that's exactly what we want to convey. Then, if they're not 100% sold right away, we do highlight what people can receive in terms of the value proposition of this strategy session, this free consultation. So we're highlighting this right here in terms of what they're gonna get. Then we have a nice photo to break things up. We do have some frequently asked questions. So just say they're like, I don't know how long is this gonna take, they can get an answer right away. Testimonials for social proof. And then if they want to start the consultation, they can just go right above, do that right there. Let's take a look at some of the expertise pages here. So these are the different areas in which the firm is doing business in. So the different project areas of where they'll take on a project. You can see here, we also integrated the video ask directly there. So basically the benefit of this is that anywhere people are scrolling on the page, they can potentially convert into a lead. I'm going to hide that now for the purposes of this screen share, but this is the basic template, and then all the other expertise area pages are in this template. As you can see here, we have a fantastic, very futuristic looking rendering. Then we have just an overview about the expertise area, more renderings to break things up. These were basically rehashed from the long pages we had looked at, so the other expertises on the original site. And as you can see here, we took the existing content, which was very important for SEO, the client had told me, but we made it significantly more fun to scroll through because we have now a lot of visual references. It's in a proper website page format. And then we have a lot more helpful content in terms of testimonials, CTA, that sort of thing. Now, this site review would not be complete if we did not look at the portfolio, of course. So the portfolio is something that we also recently worked together on a revamp of the website. So this was not the original portfolio we launched with. However, this one has a lot more functionality because you can now filter by the services. So perhaps someone wants to see an architecture project and then the different expertise area. So maybe they're looking for architecture done within the mixed use development, and then they can find projects that match that. And then also do note that we work together on this interactive map. So basically it's an outside service, so it's not directly built with Webflow, although you can obviously embed that here. But then you can basically just pan around the entire world. As you can see here, we're focused in America. Say we wanted to go to somewhere in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands here. I can just click on that project. I can get a quick overview of it. And then if I wanted to go view it, this is now the template that the project is displayed in. So we have the introduction, the summary, the role, and then we have a lightbox gallery going over the projects, or the renderings in this case, of the specific project. So if I were to go back to that, you can basically see people can scroll anywhere they want. And then again, most of the clients is based in North America, but there's this very futuristic project they've been working on here. And basically you're able to get a quick overview, and then you can see it's this very cool resort-like project. And then we have a CTA on the bottom here. So the portfolio was redone, and this is really cool. I think both like the map is very cool, as well as just the ability to filter out for projects and find something that is very relevant to the clients here. All right, everyone, so that concludes the case study video here. I hope you found it both educational and entertaining. And again, if you have any questions or feedback or anything positive you want to add to the conversation, definitely feel free to drop a comment in the comment section here on YouTube, and I will do my best to get back to you as my schedule permits. Otherwise, like I said in the introduction, if you are looking for my feedback on your firm's brand, website, and current marketing strategy, there's a link in the description where you can quickly interact with our video form, and you'll be able to tell me more about your firm, its marketing goals, and based on everything you tell me, you will be able to book a design consultation directly with myself. So again, link in the description to learn more about what that offer entails, and until next time, see you later.